Right, okay. So we've learnt a little bit about the religion here. Wonderful. And you can strafe as well. Wonderful. So now we have a few options. We can... Oh, door. And there's a white X in
Good
this
evening,
room.
my lord.
I don't think it's evening. Crazy man. Oh dear. I'm gonna end up reading all the books, aren't I? To the books! Ooh, ooh. Ooh, where's the book? Book. The History of Ferelden, Chapter 2. That's not helpful. Do we have number 1? Number 1 would be good. Aha, we do. Wonderful. History of Ferelden, Chapter 1. Ferelden, as we think of it now, did not exist before the Exalted Age. Instead, the valley was divided up into dozens of old Alamari clans. They warred constantly with one another over land, honour, the allegiance of the freeholders, and, on one notable occasion, the name given to a favourite Mabari. And then, in the 33rd year of the Exalted Age, Calanhad Theirin became Turn of Denerim, and everything changed. Most of what we know about the founding of our nation comes from old songs that the bards passed down through the ages. The songs are filled with wild exaggerations and outright lies. But this hardly differs from the scholarly papers of some of my contemporaries. There is no agreement among poets or scholars on how he did it, but Calanhad gained the support of the Circle of Magi, and they crafted for him a suit of silvery white armour that, by all accounts, repelled both arrow and blade. Calanhad led his army across the valley and captured Redcliffe, one of only 3 men who ever successfully laid siege to that fortress, and presented himself to the bands of the Landsmeet as their king. The poets tell us that every lord knelt before Calanhad without question. The fact that he attended the Landsmeet surrounded by ash warriors and loyal mages of the Circle is generally omitted from the ballads, however. From Calanhad came the line of Theirin kings and queens who reigned uninterrupted until the 44th year of the Blessed Age. When the Orlesian invasion came, the rightful king was forced to flee Denerim, and for 70 years a puppet sat upon the throne. This occupation was a dark blot on Ferelden's history. Our people, who from time immemorial valued their freedom over all else, were forced to bow to Orlesian rule. The Empire declared our elves property and sold them like cattle. Chevaliers routinely plundered freeholds of coin, food, and even women and children, and excused it as taxation. And for 70 years no landsmeets were held, for the imperial throne had declared our ancient law a form of treason. King Brandel was one of those who escaped. He tried to organise the other fugitive lords to retake their land, but Brandel was neither clever nor persuasive, and the nobles preferred to take their chances alone. Ferelden might still be little more than a territory of the Empire, were it not for the fact that his daughter had all the charisma that our royal father lacked. The rebel queen's rule began with a midnight attack on the imperial armory at Lothering. It was swift and successful, and with their pilfered arms, the rebels began a campaign against the Orlesians in earnest. But the turning point of the war came with a young freeholder joining the Queen's army. The lad, Logain MacTyr, possessed a remarkable talent for strategy, and quickly became the favourite advisor of young Prince Marek. The Queen finally died at the hands of Orlesian sympathisers, anxious to curry favour with their painted masters, and Marek took her place as the leader of the rebellion. Logain became Marek's right hand. Marek and Logain led the rebels in a new campaign against their Orlesian oppressors, culminating in the Battle of Riverdane, where the last chevaliers in Denerim were crushed. With the capital once more in the hands of Fereldans, the battle to free our people was finally over. But the battle to rebuild what had been lost had only just begun. Interesting. I don't think I've ever read that before. I think one interesting thing about this is, and Mass Effect, I'm actually reading the codices. I wouldn't normally be doing that, but actually it gives you a lot more weight to the story, as it were. Librarian man.
Good evening, my lord.
Okay, I can't talk to you. Alduus.
Hello, my dear boy. By chance, I am beginning to teach these young squires about your family's history.
Do we have to? History is boring.
Boys, you are referring to the Couslands, the very family in whose castle you live. Show some respect.
Oh, they... I don't think it's boring, and I don't really want to go against his authority. They could do with some discipline.
Perhaps you could help me with that.
Oh dear.
Might you join me in teaching this lesson?
I'm quite familiar with the subject matter. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Perhaps you could make the topic more palatable for these lads and their minuscule intellects.
That's a bit harsh. Very well.
Wonderful. Oh, the Cousland history is long indeed. Where shall we start?
When was our line founded?
Records are vague, but the Couslands became Tierns during the Black Age. Is that familiar, child?
Ooh. You mean during the lycanthrope plagues?
Good. I'm pleased some of my lessons seem to have stuck. At that time, your family held only the minor title of Ban. When the werewolves reached this area, Ban Mather Cousland organized a curfew and patrols within the city. Several other local bands supported his efforts by swearing oaths of fealty, making him their Tiern.
Ooh. So, cunning is kind of intellect as well. Interesting. And we predate the founding of the kingdom, yes?
Well, I'm glad some of my lessons don't disappear into that yawning chasm between your ears, young man.
He's a bit grumpy, isn't he? Yeah, it's your skill as a tutor, of course.
If I were truly a skilled tutor, I suspect I would not encounter such insouciance amongst my pupils. You can look that up later.
I will.
At any rate, your family has held the Tourneur of High Ever since before King Calenhad united Ferelden. In fact, Tierna Elethea Cousland battled Calenhad to maintain High Ever's independence.
These are interesting questions. And Calenhad let us keep the Tourneur?
Calenhad wished to unite Ferelden, not conquer it. After Elethea's men were defeated,
They still look bored.
Calenhad asked her to swear fealty. The boulder where they held council still stands today as a memorial of that event.
Oh, tell about our relationship with our How. This is
The history
interesting.
between the Couslands and the Hows reaches back to the Orlesian occupation.
Well, when they held Ferelden, I'll ask it. When did Orlais occupy High Ever? Surely with the occupation of Ferelden.
During your grandfather's rule. Of course, Orlais found it difficult to hold these lands. During the rebellion against Orlais, several battles were fought near High Ever. The port village of Harper's Ford was the Tourneur's center. Its Arl was Tarleton Howe. Though nearly 90, he was still as sharp and bitter as cheap ale. Your grandfather openly supported the rebellion, but Howe sided with Orlais. Your family was forced to seize Harper's Ford before it was all over.
We fought the Hows?
Your grandfather couldn't afford to lose Harper's Ford. In keeping the town, your family drove Orlais from its lands. The Hows eventually joined the rebellion, when all of Ferelden united behind King Merrick and General Logain.
When they didn't have a
Just
choice.
as now we united behind Merrick's son, King Cailan, to fight the Darkspawn.
So the Hows side with whichever side they think's going to win, so not to be trusted. Time to end the lesson, methinks.
Thank you for indulging an old man.
Does that mean we have to listen to you now?
Silence! I will not have you two becoming smart-mouthed hooligans. Perhaps you should go. I doubt they need any more distraction. I'm just going to settle in here and apparently just talk to myself for all the good.
Ooh. More codexing, king. Right, the geography of Ferelden. The kingdom of Ferelden is the southernmost civilized nation in Thedas, although some scholars dispute the claim to civilization. It is perhaps the most physically isolated of all the kingdoms of Thedas. To the east is the Amaranthine Ocean, to the north the Waking Sea, and to the south the Kakari Wilds, which in the summer months are a vast peat bog, and in the winter become a treacherous labyrinth of iced-over waterways. The Frostback Mountains guard the western border, and only a narrow plain between the mountains and the sea allows travel between Ferelden and Orlais. Most of the land in the central portion of the kingdom, called the Banorn, is open plains. These are crossed by the remnants of an ancient Tevinter highway that once connected Val Rayo with Ostergar on the edge of the Kakari Wilds. So I'm guessing, Orlais is France, basically. And Ferelden's kind of the Holy Roman Empire, if memory serves. The western part of Ferelden is dominated by Lake Calenhad, a huge caldera filled by the runoff of glaciers from nearby mountains. Lake Calenhad is home to the famed fortress of Redcliffe, as well as the Circle Tower, which houses Ferelden's Circle of Magi. In the east is the vast Brazilian forest, which the superstitious locals profess to be haunted, and from which rises the Dragon's Peak, a solitary mountain that guards the capital city of Denerim. The noble families of Ferelden. The occupation left empty castles in its wake. Whole families were butchered in the initial invasion, and all those who couldn't or wouldn't bend the knee to the Emperor's puppet king were declared traitors and hunted. Many bloodlines ended on the Chevalier's blades at dusty crossroads, in forest clearings, or in freeholds. And then there were the turncoats. To curry favour with their new masters, some nobles took up arms against their brothers. They betrayed and murdered the rebel queen, an act that created even more vacant titles and lands once King Marek exacted justice. That Ferelden did not fall apart after the Orlesians left is a testament to the strength of King Marek. The old family still held grudges against those who had sided with the Emperor, and those new families that had been granted titles were viewed as interlopers. The lands meets that followed Marek's coronation were tense, to say the least. Right. Well, we have a few people to see. And I think before we go further, I'm just going to put the lights on, because it's a bit dark. And I'm back. Very short stint. So, looks like there's people up there. Maybe we should... It looks like the people there. People up there. Maybe converse with them. Where's the kitchen? Kitchen straight ahead of us. So, let's get our dog. Hello.
Good evening, my lord.
It's not evening. Why do we employ idiots? I'm guessing this is the kitchen.
Get that bloody mutt out of the larder.
But mistress, it won't let us near.
If I can't get into that larder, I'll skin both of you useless elves. I swear it.
Calm down, good woman. We've come to help.
Uh-oh.
You and you. Your bloody mongrel keeps getting into my larder. That beast should be put down.
Perhaps you should lock your larder tighter.
If I locked it any tighter, we couldn't get in.
Oh dear. Mistress, calm down, please.
That's it. I'll quit. Inform the turner. I'll go and cook at some nice estate in the Banorn.
Nan, please. We'll get the dog. Calm down.
Just get him gone. I've enough to worry about with a castle full of hungry soldiers. You two, stop standing there like idiots. Get out of the way.
Ooh, to equip new items you'll need to... inventory... It's almost universally I. Ooh. What do you want me to do with this? To unequip an item. Right. Can I... Okay, that's probably quite a useful idea. Can I deactivate tutorial? I've played this before. Game. I thought I had tutorials off. Sure I'd done that before. Right, no more tutorials. I don't need your help.
Why are you talking to me, young man? That wretched creature is likely eating my beautiful roast as we speak.
More or less. How did he get into the larder this time?
How in the blazes am I supposed to know? He up and walked through the wall, I expect.
Whoa,
That
ghost
hound
dog.
isn't natural. I see it in his eyes. He does this on purpose, just to torment me.
I'm going to actually talk to the elves. Because you were mean to them.
Hold our stock army in the south? Surely that's not true.
Probably is. Don't call me Shirley. Ah, dear.
The castle is so eerie with everyone preparing to ride south. It'll be so empty.
I know. Dog! Rats.
Oh, look at that mess. How did he even get in here?
This is squeaking. Hey, doggy. Are you trying to tell me something, boy? Is young Jenkins stuck down a well again?
It does seem like he's trying to tell you something. Wait. Did you hear that?
That was well timed. I like that. I shall name my dog Chester, because that was the name of the last dog I had. Chester's a wonderful historic city, all Roman and stuff. and codex or combat? Codex or combat? Let's do the combat. So, you savage it. You savage that one. And I'll savage this one. And of course it's giant rats. This wouldn't be... Oh, there's a load over there. Chester, go and deal with that one. You deal with that one. And I will deal with this one. And so do you have special abilities we can use? I'd like to know what these abilities are, game. Oh, it's over there. Precise striking. Deactivate that. Growl. Penalty to defense. Not really useful. Stealth, probably not useful. You... Yeah.
Ready!
You attack it. Oh, there's still tactics as well. That's quite nice, actually. Right. You... Right, he's going to deal with those two. Chester, you deal with that one. Gilmore, deal with him. I will deal with... Oh, they're coming out. They're coming through and they're spawning! It's not fair.
We must fight. Let us do it quickly.
I'm sure this is just a random way of getting experiences. Have all these enemies, all these rats. That seems to be the last one.
Giant rats? It's like the start of every bad adventure tale my grandfather used to tell.
Oh
Your
dear,
hound must have chased
game
them in through
knows.
their holes. Looks like he wasn't raiding the larder after all.
The game itself knows that this is cliched. Wonderful. It certainly looks that way. You're smarter than you look.
Those were rats from the Kokari Wilds. Best not to tell Nan. She's upset enough as it is. But seeing as you've got your Mabari well in hand, I'll be on my way. I'm to prepare for the arrival of more of the Isle's men.
Wonderful.